Oh my gosh, you guys, this is all about content and conversations. Which one is better? I have to say, this is the real secret to $1 million business. If I build $1 million business again, when I build $1 million business again, this is the way I'm going to do it. And I don't think I've ever shared this before on any podcast or any training or anything like that, like this detailed. So, this is the real secret, you guys. This is the real secret. And I have to say, the last step is the most crucial. If you want to build $1 million business, this is the video for you. This is the training for you. And I hope you do. I hope you do. We need more empowered female led $1 million businesses in this world. And so I really hope that you take this information and go with it once and for all. This is how you build $1 million business. Top secret. Now, to start, this might ruffle some feathers, but I'm going to say it anyway. Content alone doesn't convert. Conversations do. Posting alone is not a strategy. Posting is honestly, it's just a billboard. Billboards are cute. They get attention, but they don't answer questions. They don't solve objections. They don't build trust as much. But you know what does? Talking to people. You might have seen it on a post, but you probably had questions. You probably sent a DM, got a response, or had a conversation that made you feel seen, safe, and most of all, ready to invest. This is it right here. This is the shift. Everyone is obsessing over views and reach, but the real money is made in the inbox, in the back. It always has been and always will be. This is my best friend, Laura Obando, and she is also the co-founder of Pretty Rich Bosses. She's responsible for like 400K months in our business. And I really needed her help to teach you the secret as the co-founder, the secret. And I can't believe we're sharing this with them right now. I can't believe it, but we're going to do it. I think we're going to do it. Okay, here we go. Because gatekeeping is so like 2020. No, we're not doing that anymore. Okay, guys, let's look at this together. Okay, business owner A. Here we have business owner A. She posts twice a week. Nothing crazy, right? Twice a week. But she's in the DMs daily, networking, building real relationships, like answering questions and actively engaging. She's not just scrolling. She's selling. She's showing up where it counts in conversations. Okay, so business owner B, equally as cute. They're both cute, okay? One's richer than the other, though. Because business owner B, she's gorgeous, she's consistent, she's posting every single day, but she's waiting for sales. She thinks that content alone should be enough. She's hoping that the algorithm will carry her sales, but algorithms don't pay invoices. Which one? Which one do you think is making more money? Business owner A, exactly. The one who's talking to people. Now, you should post content and talk to people both. But if we're talking about a limited amount of time, visibility doesn't equal profitability. And content doesn't close. Conversations do. Your posts get you seen. Your DMs get you paid. Say that again. Your posts get you seen, but your DMs get you paid. So if I were to engineer the perfect nightmare for myself, let's say my competitor, picture your competitor, picture her. If your competitor barely posts, she's barely posting, so it's not that scary, but she's blowing up your clients in the DMs with fire emojis, heart eyes, personalized deep conversations. Yeah, you should be scared because they're building trust while you're just building their feed. People don't book with who posts the most. They book with who makes them feel seen. What happens in the DMs, not on the grid. She might not even have a super cute aesthetic. Her page might look average, but she's in the freaking inbox where you can't see her talking to your clients, being relatable, encouraging them, asking questions, and then bam, they book and they leave you. She's not showing off. She's showing up. Big difference. You're focused on content calendars. She's focused on conversations and getting to know people. And that's why she's fully booked while you're wondering why no one's buying. Engagement isn't just likes and comments. It's emotional connection, which is more valuable. An emotional connection gets made in the chat, not in the carousel. Do you see what I'm saying? Listen, the sale isn't lost because she's prettier than you. It's lost because she talked to them first. And by the way, she's not prettier than you. You're like the prettiest girl I've ever seen. So let me continue with this analogy. Posting is great because it's the spark. It's the match. But a match alone doesn't keep you warm. Conversations are the bonfire. That's where the real heat is. That's where sales happen. So your content gets you seen, but your DMs get you paid. Content gets you seen, DMs get you paid. Content is what draws people in, but the DMs are where you build trust, intimacy, urgency, clarity, and buy-in. And that is the sales cocktail. Most people, they light the match. They post something cute and then they sit back like this. Like, okay, I'm ready for clients now. I'm just waiting, but nothing happens. Why? Because they stop at visibility, and visibility doesn't equal conversion. I've seen it 1,000 times. Beautiful branding, gorgeous posts, 10K followers, 19K followers. I just met somebody for coffee yesterday, 19K followers. But no money in the bank. Why? Because the fire never got lit. Visibility is cute, virality is fun, but connection converts, period. You don't need more followers. You need more follow through. That happens in the DM, sister friend. Follow through. The algorithm can't beat human effort. Content can be suppressed, but do you know what bypasses the freaking algorithm? DMs. Because you can't control the reach of a reel, but you can control your conversations. And that's it. Let me prove it to you with my own journey. I built 2 multi-million-dollar brands through DMs. I was pregnant. I was not fulfilling services. I was out of the chair. How could I? I was like, cankles and all. So what I did was I hired out fulfillment artists. I sold brows through influencer DMs. Then I did the same thing to sell coaching. Guys, this is exactly how I built not 1, but 2 multi-7-figure businesses. When I was pregnant, I wasn't doing any services. I sat at home in a robe with swollen ankles and sold all day in the DMs, talking to influencers. I trained my team to fulfill, and then I filled their books through conversations and content. And now I teach the same strategy. Every launch, every course, every event, it all starts with the same engine. Real conversations with real people. Now, content helped people find me, but conversations made them trust me. So let me be crystal clear. If you really want a 7-figure business, there's no other way. You will not get to 7 figures just by going viral. You will not scale a beauty brand just by posting reels and hoping for the best. You need to sell. And selling happens through conversations. Oh, do you want more proof? I have more proof. Every big business has a sales team. Let that sink in. Amazon doesn't just have ads. They have account reps. Medical sales, 100% relationship based. Real estate, conversations, networking. And speaking of networking, what about network marketing? That's conversations. If you have a software or a SaaS product, they book demos and get on calls. Not a single major industry relies on just posting. And if you want to be major, you won't either. Conversations equals the forever $1 million strategy. Make no mistake, when I make another $1 million business, and again, it will be through conversations, not luck, not algorithms, not virality. Conversations. That's the real $1 million strategy. I have a longer lesson on this, but I just want to touch on this right now. 90% of your resources, time is a resource, money is a resource, manpower is a resource, should be spent on sales activities like DM conversations, and only 10% on fulfillment. Most people spend 90% of their resources, their time, their energy, their money on the fulfillment. They get the supplies, they get the Instagrammable wall, they buy furniture, they buy Voss water, they buy certifications, they expand their fulfillment team, hire more artists. But then the whole sales and marketing part is just like a tiny little slice. And they wonder, why am I not having sales? Oh, because it's so tiny, the investment on it. So, what Laura and I have done is we flip that. If you flip this, you will start seeing a major change in your business. Okay, I understand you're probably like, Sheila, DMs, that's really crazy. I don't know if I can do that. Most people resist DM sales because of fear of rejection, probably because you haven't been trained properly. And I know you don't want to be pushy, but when it's done right, it's not salesy, it's service. You see, okay, today, you don't have to guess how to do this. You just need structure. And that's where my COO, Laura, comes in. This is how we teach our team to close six-figure weeks. Just real humans talking. It's pretty wild. And this is kind of a collage of our relationship, particularly the center image.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I love that picture of us, Sheila. Thank you so much for the introduction. And honestly, everything you're saying is so true. Like, we literally have been able to build two seven-figure businesses because of conversations. So thank you for having me. I just kind of want to go deep into the topic about DM mindset and strategy because a lot of the things you mentioned are so true about people thinking it has to be salesy or it's like uncomfortable. So, we want to equip you guys with being able to build what we've built because it really has been through conversations. So basically what we're about to show you guys is we haven't done it just for us. Our students have been able to do it themselves too. Even with like 4 weeks in the program, we've had someone go from below 10K a month to being able to increase their income to 15K a month in just 3 weeks. So this strategy again doesn't just work for our business, but it works for the thousands of students that we've mentored ourselves inside of Pretty Rich Bosses. One thing that's really important is that, as Sheila mentioned, you're creating content, and what that content does is basically allow you to attract more leads, allow you to be seen, be known, but really, it's really the base of the like, know, and trust. But the conversations is really what can actually help you get transactions. And so that's basically what we're going to show you guys today. The first thing I want you guys to understand, because we are so used to like, oh, my Instagram's supposed to be like a pretty magazine type of thing. But what if we started seeing Instagram as our actual storefront? What if people were actually coming into our storefront? Maybe we stopped seeing like those 10 likes, like, oh my gosh, only 10 people like my post. I'm so sad. Imagine 10 people in your actual salon or 10 people in your spa saying, you know what? I like this product or whatever it is that you have by your window or inside of your storefront if you have certain products. So 10 people is a lot of people. And if you are not appreciating the likes and the comments that you're getting on your post, you basically are losing so much potential clients. And so this is really crucial. And what I really want to say is that I think people underestimate the power of creating connections, especially now on social media, because it's been given to us like on a platter to be able to create connections. And Sheila mentioned, she showed that graphic of like how 90% of businesses should be focusing on sales and 10% on fulfillment. And to be completely honest, I want you guys to see the DM strategy or these conversation strategies as what sales really is about, because really successful businesses build sales teams because they know that conversations and reaching out to people is really what brings in revenue. Interesting fact, companies like Spectrum or AT&T are actually surviving. They're surviving because of their cold calling team and their door-to-door team. So imagine DMs is social media is your way of having that door-to-door connection or that cold calling connection. But most importantly, you're able to reach people just, from your phone through those organic conversations. So it's mind-blowing that a lot of people are not focusing on bringing sales this way. Before we dive into this, what I really want you guys to understand about the DM strategy is that it's it's a way of us connecting with people, right? And so kind of like what I was just showing you guys in that first graphic of Instagram being our storefront. The beauty of it is that when we create content, we're actually creating hot leads, because when people tell us, "Hey, I like this piece of content," they're physically telling you, "Hey, I like this product." So the DM strategy all starts, and the best way to do it is by starting with our hottest leads. So what are our hottest leads? People who like, comment, anyone that interacts with our stories. They're just basically coming to us saying, think about them as being in your store front or inside of your store, by your reception area. And all you have to do is just say hi to them. So the mindset for DMing is sales is a numbers game. Don't focus on the seeds that are not growing. Focus on planting new seeds and nurturing the ones that are growing. Consistency in planting and nurturing is key. So I want you guys to think of Alex Hormozy here. A lot of times people just like, oh, I don't want to start conversations with people. It takes too much time. Or like maybe you do it from time to time, but you're not consistent at it. Like businesses are not successful if we don't do action, like massive action. Okay. And that's really important about the DM strategy, because a lot of times people give up on creating those connections with other people because they're like, oh, I started some conversations, but people fall through and then it just doesn't work. So, really important, guys. Kind of like what I was saying about Alex Hormozy. Like sometimes he says, like, oh, he can ask you, like, ooh, how much are you posting? And if you say, like, yeah, I just post like one time and then I stop posting. And then he's like, no, you know what? You actually have to post 300 times this month. And I'm just, just throwing a number out there. But just think about the mindset for this strategy of conversations or DMing people as something that needs to be done on a massive level. Like it doesn't work if you just do it one or two or three times, or you just start conversations with two or three people a day. If you really want to be successful, if you don't want to be spending time and resources, money on advertising or on creating content, because we know, like Sheila mentioned, we know that what are the chances of you becoming viral and people just automatically buying from you? I'm sorry, but you're not Kylie Jenner, right? So it's not going to happen, right? Your business is a local business, and what you need to be doing is taking that mindset of door-to-door sales inside of Instagram, because now the world has transformed that for us and it's easier for us. We just have to do it, on social platforms. So I think it's like, I really think we're just like in a fortunate time in history where we've been given a gift to be able to just do this straight out of our phones and just be able to connect with people by not having to go door to door. It's just so cool and amazing. And so let's dive into why it shouldn't be seen as something icky or salesy. The first thing is you're not selling. You have to walk into this as, if you're a hungry business owner that's just thinking about like, I'm going to sell this and my service is all about me, then you're not approaching it the right way. You really have to approach it on, how will I serve today? Who will I serve today? Because our services, especially people in the beauty industry, and I've talked to a lot of people in the beauty industry, like thousands of people, and I know most of you guys get into this industry because you love helping other people. You love the transformations. And so if you really got into this industry because of that reason, if you really were inspired because you liked to make someone feel good about themselves, then that's the same approach you have to take when starting a conversation with someone because you're not selling that person a service just to sell it to them. And that's really crucial. Like, if you really can't serve someone through your service, then don't start that conversation. And if you believe that you cannot serve that person through your service, then don't start that conversation. It needs to be super genuine. It needs to be like, oh my gosh, you know what? I see this girl has really thin brows. I think she could use my help. Like that type of thing. Like, oh wow, this girl seems to be struggling with her skin. I could totally help her with her large pores or her acne scars, whatever it is, right? So when we see the conversations and these connections from that perspective of like, who am I serving? How can I serve them? How can I actually help them and transform them? And again, going back to why you started in this industry, this whole conversation and connecting with people, it's just so much easier. So, philosophy. Get this in your head, guys. You're having a conversation. I need you to see it as you're having a conversation with a friend. If you see it like this, friend of friends, friends want to help each other out. I'm going to walk you through the whole roadmap on how you actually have a friendly conversation with someone that it's not going to feel salesy or icky. Because again, at the end of the day, if we go back to the slide before, if we're serving, we're actually helping them. Rule of thumb, focus on them. If you are all about you, loving what you sell, let me tell you about me, 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 me. That's not going to work. So, when do you do that? The business owner who's starting a conversation by saying, like, hi, my name is Laura, and I've been a permanent makeup artist for 20 years. Do you want me to do your brows? That's you focusing on you. And that is the wrong approach. And I'm sure you guys have seen those DMs. They get sent by like robots or VAs and things like that that are like, "Hey, are you interested in this service?" Do you know what are the chances of people actually replying to that? Like probably 2%. I don't know. But I think it's really low. Rather than someone that actually believes what they sell. When you really believe what you sell, you focus on your buyer. You focus on what the buyer wants. You focus on what their pain points are. You focus on what their struggles are, right? So that is really how you need to approach conversations. Think about it as, again, you are the friend. If your best friend is struggling with something specific, you want to be that person that helps her out and help and is that person that's listening to what she's feeling, listening to why she's in pain or hurt, right? And so this is the approach. Through any beauty service, we want to be that person for a potential buyer. So I'm going to show you guys the framework that has gotten us to two seven-figure companies, a sold out event. How we sold out like two or three events? You guys understand how all of this can happen internally with these conversations. Step number one is build rapport. Step number two is get the pain. Step number three is paint the heaven, edify yourself. And step number four is offer a consult. So very easy, 4 solid steps. So what's really crucial is that you do not skip any of these steps. Any time that we skip any of these steps, it's really when people start ghosting us. So I gave you guys a little preview of like, you don't want to start a DM by saying, hi, I'm Sheila. I've been a permanent makeup artist for 20 years. Have you been thinking about getting your brows done? No, no. Every time, I'll give you guys my number one tip. It's a secret one. Every time you're starting a conversation, I need you guys to think of like that person's in front of you. Maybe at Starbucks, maybe at the Costco line while you're buying groceries, waiting to pay your groceries. And Whenever you're starting the conversation, you're tapping on that girl's shoulder. If you read it out loud to yourself and you're tapping on that girl's shoulder and it sounds weird, you're being weird. You're sounding weird in person. You're sounding like a freak. You gotta be natural. And what's the easiest way to build rapport with someone? Honestly, guys, it's through compliments. It's the easiest way, and it actually works in the social media world as well. So, number one tip again is think about that person as if you were actually in that same room with her or you had her face to face. And how would you start a conversation with a stranger? Is it by saying, "Hi, I'm Laura, so nice to meet you"? No, that's going to be weird. That person's going to turn back at me and be like, "Okay, why are you introducing yourself?" But what if I said like, "Oh my gosh, girl, I love your dress. Where'd you get it?" Then she's gonna be like, "Oh my gosh, thank you. I got it at H&M or whatever she got it." Right? So always think of that moment of like tapping a stranger's shoulder and them turning around. And if you're about to say something awkward, don't say it. Be natural. Just be friendly, guys. It's building rapport, it's all about being friendly. Okay. Getting the pain is the second step of this conversation. And when we go into this is because we probably already, asked that person maybe one or two questions to break the ice, like, where are you from? Or like, how's your day going? And then, you build that friendly conversation. And so then we can go into like, by the way, I've noticed that, your brows look great in this picture. What's your actual brow routine? And we start getting into like, ooh, what does she do for her brows? What does she do to take care of her brows? And so getting the pain is finding out if we can actually serve that person. Sometimes in this process, we're going to find out that that person might not want new brows or might not want to get a facial done or might not, but this is why it's so crucial to see these conversations from that serving perspective. And so finding out the pain is figuring out what that person might not like or what she's struggling with. So when we ask something that will discovery questions that will get us to finding out that pain is when, like I mentioned, is when we can really figure out if that person needs our service or not. And so as you guys can see, this is all genuine. Just going back to step number one, whenever you're complimenting someone on something, guys, it has to be something that you actually genuinely like. So if you go to their profile or if you see a story, like, make sure you're creating that conversation from something that you genuinely like. If it's like that person's cooking certain food that you think looks yummy, or their dogs are super cute, or their kids are beautiful, or you saw that she went to this amazing vacation spot and you want to know where it is, find something genuine. Because if you don't start the conversation from a genuine starting point, then that's again when everything's just going to feel so awkward for you. I just had to clarify that because I think that's really crucial in everything that we've been teaching. Okay, so going back to getting the pain. Once you find out a little bit about what that person's maybe doing with their brow routine or what that person's doing with their skincare routine, then we can find out a little bit more about how we can help. So things like, oh my gosh, so you draw your brows in every day, then we can ask a little bit more about things like, what don't you like about your brows? And then that's when people actually start opening up because they see that we're coming from a genuine place, asking curious questions. So this is where we're going to find out people telling us things like, I just hate that I have to draw my brows in every day, or I just don't feel very confident about my large pores if it's about skincare. Or I just feel like I've been aging now and, I'm not liking the fine lines on my face, whatever it is, right? And so those pains, that's what I call pain, to be honest. They don't have to be like super pain, like I'm not talking about like painful, but that's literally people's emotions, right? And so whenever people share their emotions with us, what is the natural thing that we should do? Relate to that emotion. And that is step two. When we get the pain, again, a friend, think about your best friend. Your best friend needs you to be empathetic with whatever she's feeling. So if her boyfriend cheated on her, you're not going to be mean to her and not relate to what she's feeling, right? You're probably going to be like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe you did that." And you're going to just relate to her pain, try to make her feel a little better. And that's what takes us into step three, painting the heaven. So if you're having a conversation with your best friend who just told you that her boyfriend cheated on her, then the next step is to make her feel better because she needs an escape. She needs to get out of the house. She can't be, crying over Johnny all night. No, you got to be a good friend, right? You have to have a solution. Like, come on, Sheila, let's go out. Let's go out. So your service is that heaven for that person. Step number three is painting the heaven. Girl, I got you. Don't worry. Have you ever thought about permanent makeup? It's actually going to save you so much time. You don't have to draw your brows in every day. That's painting the heaven for our med spa girls, like Botox. Oh my gosh, Botox helps so many people. Like, if you're feeling tired, if you have like wrinkles that you're getting worried about, right? And so people start telling you that when they're not feeling their best or be seen as their best. So Botox here comes in and saves the day, making us all feel better. And that's what step number three brings us to being that friend that actually has a solution for something, for a struggle. And then right after that, it's going to be so much easier to offer a consult or to offer a service because you've already got to the emotion of that person. And so that's not only going to differentiate you from your competitors, actually, like Sheila mentioned, it's the formula that can help you build a successful business. But what's really key is making sure that we're consistent with this strategy. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys what I like to call the DM flow chart. So as you guys see here, we start with the name, if possible. If you see it on their Instagram handle, it makes it feel a little bit more personal. And then again, you start with use something personal, like, oh my gosh, your dog is so cute, a compliment. You're trying to build common ground here. But what's really important is whenever you start a conversation, after that first compliment, if you want to be in control of the conversation, is ask a question. Okay? Because if you don't ask a question and you just say a statement or a compliment, the chances of you getting hearted are like so much higher. But if you actually ask a question, you might get a reply. So I gave you guys an example of like, oh my gosh, your dress is so cute. The question following it is, where did you get it? So again, I'm prompting the potential client to reply back to me. This is where, again, we're building that rapport and we're relating. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I love it. And then step two, as you guys can see here, is your brows look amazing in this photo, or you can say your skin looks great in this photo. What's your skin routine like? And that is what's going to transition us into finding step two, which is the pain. So we transition into biz ASAP while still being personal and still building rapport. So this is where we start asking questions that can connect us to that pain. Like, do you draw them in every day? What's your skincare routine like? What don't you like about your wrinkles? Or how do you feel about your wrinkles? What has been your biggest struggle? So these are the types of questions that just get people to open up and really, when you ask these type of questions, guys, and you're not just like, just think about this as someone messaged you and they were like, "Hey, how much are brows?" And you're like, "They're 430. I charge 430 for my set of brows." And then they're like, "Okay, thank you." Or a med spa. For example, someone messages you and they're like, "How much is Botox?" And then you're just like, "It's $11 a unit." And then they're like, okay, thank you. Like, did that conversation feel good? So imagine if that med spa owner was like, hey girl, yeah, I'd love to give you more info about Botox. Tell me more about what, why do you feel like you need Botox right now? What are you struggling with? So that immediately differentiates your business as someone that cares about that buyer. So this is why step two in the conversation, and even if people seem like, hey, ready to book, and they're like, hey, I'm ready to book for Botox or I'm ready to book for brows. You always want to make sure you know what that person needs your service. That not only connects you emotionally to the buyer, but it also just ups your chances, I would say by like 90% of closing them, just because you're being personal, you're caring about that person. And also, Guys, because when you get the emotion, you're able to follow up more genuinely, and most likely 70% of the of sales happen in the follow-up. But if you don't have a solid reason to follow up, follow-ups are just icky, and this is why we don't do them. An example of this is, hey, I'm just following up because you got no idea. You have no idea about anything about this person. You're just like, hey, I'm just following up. Hey, I'm just following up. No one likes to do that. No one likes to be following up. We all know that, like, I bet, like, if we have 1,000 people in this room, no one will raise their hand saying, I love following up. No one. So, how can we make our follow-up process more like easier for us and just friendlier for people if we actually knew why they needed our service or what they were feeling? Something more personal always makes the follow-up easier, as I mentioned. So knowing, being able to approach that person like, hey, Sheila, I was thinking about you because I remember you told me you were struggling with X, Y, and Z. How has your journey been so far? Have you been able to get some help in regards to that? That person's gonna feel like, wow, she thought about me. She remembered what I told her. It feels so different, guys. And so again, don't ever skip getting the pain. Okay? This is the key here. Okay. So as I going through this flow chart, I'm just showing you guys the breakdown of the 4 steps of the conversation. So when someone tells us their struggle, this is where we really understand. I understand, I totally hear you. And then we go straight into painting the heaven, step 3, which is showing them the solutions. Well, if you've been struggling with migraines, have you actually thought about getting Botox? Did you know that Botox actually help with migraines and blah, blah, blah? And you could tell them a little bit about the service. You're not doing a full consult, but you're giving them a little bit of like, you know what? If you're feeling this way, this might actually help. Have you ever tried it before? And then that person's going to be like, no, I actually never, I had no idea that Botox helped with migraines. And then you're going to be like, ooh, well, I definitely recommend it. I've been doing, I've been a med spa owner for over 20 years. And a lot of my patients, when they get into their 40s or 50s, start getting weird migraines, and Botox has completely improved their migraines. And so that person is going to be like, oh my gosh, they're going to, again, feel heard about their current struggle. And then from there, it's so easy to go into, I would love to offer you a free consult because I know you've been struggling with X, Y, and Z. And that's how we basically finish a conversation in the DMs. 4-step process, making sure we don't skip any step in the process so that we can increase our chances of getting more sales. And again, if people fall fall through on any of these steps in the conversations, what's crucial is following up, making sure that you guys are following up on potential leads, especially if they reply to you. Because if they reply to you on Instagram, guys, if they reply to you on Instagram, and you follow this step, your chances of closing that sale are much higher. But if you fall off on any of these steps in the framework, or you forget to paint the heaven and you jump straight into the consult, because it's a lot of the things I see with our students. They like build some rapport, then they offer the service right away, and then they're like, okay, can you come in on this day? And then people start ghosting them because they skipped a step in the conversation. So remember the 4 steps, and this is where the money happens, guys.
Okay, now you've learned about the DM strategy. We're going to give you an action item that you are going to do today to make more money in your business. Go
So,
ahead. Brilliant idea, Laura. Give them a brilliant idea.
okay, so go into all of your likes tonight.
Mm.
If you've posted in the last 5 days, go through your likes, find out people that might be new potential clients and start that conversation with them. Go through your new followers. So at the end of the day, you should at least have 10 to 20 people that you can start conversations with. And this should be something that you do daily. So my encouragement to you guys today is go into those likes, go into your new follows, go into your comments, find new people that you can actually introduce yourself. Because, oh, something I forgot to say is, if you're not saying hi to people that are actually liking and commenting your post, Think about you being the rude business owner who has someone in their front door and you're not saying hi to them. I'll just leave it at that, guys.
By the way, there is a document that we have put together that shows you exactly this flow chart and a DM script that's plug and play. It's so easy to use. Go to sheilabella.com/secret. sheilabella.com/secret. And you can just download it for free. It's the exact scripts we use and the flow chart for how you make anything a seven-figure business. This is the way it's done. I promise you. I promise you. Thank you, Laura, and I'll see you guys next time.